Welcome to Workshop Topics, mini drill cutters and grinders. The accessories and types of cutters, grinders and polishers for mini drills are numerous, and the quality of them varies immensely. They range from excellent to rubbish. Here are a few good ones in action for something that needs some serious rejuvenation. A lot of the metal parts are so rusty I need to cut them out. The first of the mini drill accessories I'm going to look at are these. I really do like them. They are diamond cutters. These were some that I bought recently. 2 shanks and lots of cutters, and they were incredibly cheap, and you would think they would be very poor quality, but no, they are really good. I find this tool to be very useful. It's a Proxon rechargeable mini drill. And the battery lasts for ages, unlike some rechargeable mini drills that you buy from various places online, which are no good at all. These are good. To demonstrate this particular diamond cutter, I need to assemble it. First of all, I remove the screw, then I fit the disc, then I retighten the screw, not forgetting the washer. I alternate from using this type of cutter to another type that works in a slightly different way. This is a Dremel cutter, and it's not a diamond cutter, and it will wear down as you start to use it. These cutting discs are very well designed. They just clip onto the holder. I would normally fit a disc like this though the other way round to what you see here. The side with the label on does not cut as well as the side without the label. These are also very good. I know it's just a set of coarse rotary burrs, but they work really well. As a demonstration, this is what I'm going to be working on. This is such a great opportunity to work on something that is diabolical. Whether you like Land Rovers or not, this is a Land Rover part. I would guess that most people won't know what this is. It is a very old part from a Land Rover. It's the part of the dashboard that covers the windscreen wiper motor at the end. This is in very bad condition. I purposely bought it that way. The problem I have with this Land Rover is it's not new, and I don't want it to look new. You're looking at it as I bought it. I will of course clean up the outside as well. Generally speaking, I do not buy scrap parts, but this is just one of a couple of recent purchases that are really very bad indeed. The prices are ridiculous. This one was very cheap. Basically, it is a metal shell covered in polyurethane foam, which is then covered in vinyl. Now, the polyurethane foam isn't so good. The vinyl is reasonable. The metal is not good at all. In fact, a lot of the metal is missing entirely. But never mind, just keep watching. I will eventually be using epoxy resin and glass fibre, but I don't like bodging things, so what I'm doing here is cutting out all the rubbish parts, including the screws and fittings that are designed to hold it to the bulkhead. They are small Phillips screws, and they're far too small to unscrew. They're absolutely solid, so the best thing to do is to just cut them off with the cutter. Which cutter am I using for this? Well, really, my weapon of choice for this job is the Dremel cutter, although you have to be very careful with it for 2 reasons. One is you don't want to cut through the metal, followed by cutting into the polyurethane foam, further followed by cutting the vinyl. That would not be good. So if you're doing a job like this, make sure that the part that you're cutting is supported firmly and the drill itself is supported firmly. Don't let the drill get its own way. The main problem I find with these types of cutters is that, like a full-size angle grinder, they do make quite a lot of grinding dust. Here is a diamond cutter. It does cut the metal very well, but you do have to apply considerably more pressure to make this happen. The good news is though, apart from the rust particles flying all over the place, it doesn't make that much mess. And another plus, it's physically smaller than the larger Dremel cutter. But there is a technique to using these diamond cutters, and that is, as I've just mentioned, always apply plenty of pressure. As you can see, the finish on the edge of the metal is quite good, because not only does the diamond cutter cut the metal, it cleans it up at the same time. I'll take this opportunity to apologise for the lateness of today's video. I've been really busy sorting out some tyres on the correct wheels for the Land Rover. It is never a good idea to buy cheap bargain basement cutters, as this is what usually happens. Very quickly the carborundum disc gets smaller and smaller and smaller and then disappears. So do yourself a favour, buy something that is good quality. These Dremel cutters last a long time. I'm really impressed with these. Just in case you're wondering what the piece of mahogany is about, well, it's pushed underneath the metal to hold the polyurethane foam away from the cutting disc. There was one area where there was so much rust stuck to the polyurethane foam I couldn't use a cutter for this, so I used one of the burrs that I showed earlier, and this made short work of any pieces of rust stuck to the polyurethane foam. In places I went into the foam just to clean it up a bit more. I'm really pleased that I used this part to demonstrate these cutters because it's so ideal. Sometimes it's good to work on really bad things and make them better. There is still a lot of rot on this part, and I need the rot out of the way before I continue the job. This is a comparison between a new Dremel cutter and one that's done quite a lot of work. It's getting smaller. And then there is, of course, the diamond cutter that doesn't get any smaller. These are just a few of the parts now on the bench. What a mess. The other reason that the video was late today was this morning when I woke up, I couldn't walk. Yesterday I spent the entire day working with one of the mechanics at Rossmore Garage, a place very close to where I live. Most of the time the Land Rover was on a ramp, which was really brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed that. If only I had one of those, it would make a lot of jobs simple. Even some of the larger miniature steam locomotives I've worked on would benefit by having a small ramp, just to manipulate the part and move it around. I worked on one engine a while ago and I had to use a pinch bar to move it. It was extremely heavy. You're probably thinking, well, why didn't you spend more money and buy a better part? Well, to be honest, the ones that were better weren't that much better, but they were a lot more money. As you can see though, not all of this is rusty, and you will be able to see how this part progresses in the series Rebuilding a Rust-Proof Land Rover. I'm still cleaning up grinding dust and rust flakes from the bench. This is the top part of this fitting that covers the wiper motor, and it's not bad at all. By the time I've rubbed it down thoroughly by hand and sprayed it with etch primer, it should look good. As to the inner part, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to use epoxy resin and glass fibre. This Workshop Topics episode has just been about cutting tools, so if you want to watch more about me doing the job, please watch the series Rebuilding a Rust-Proof Land Rover. In fact, tomorrow's video is largely taken at Rossmore Garage, where I spent the day working on it with the mechanic. It was nerve-wracking driving it there because the tyres that were on it were all perished, but now it has a full new set of tyres and an exhaust system that wasn't cobbled together from bits from a British motorcycle. To finish off, you may be wondering what I'm currently doing. This particular part is the number plate light housing, and it's been sat in cellulose thinners for 4 days to get rid of the paint. And here I'm demonstrating the function of yet another tool that fits in a small mini drill. This is a bit like Scotch-Brite. It's a small rotary wheel and it's quite abrasive. The secret to using these is to run them slowly. If you run them too fast, they tend to melt and they don't do the job. This tool is a flapper wheel and it's a bit more vicious, and it's really cutting through the grime and the rust. And you can run this much faster than the Scotch-Brite type wheel. But please be aware that I recommend wearing a breathing mask and eye protection when doing jobs like this. If you get something nasty stuck in your eye, then the fun is over, definitely, for that day. And maybe longer. Take care when you use a rotary flapper wheel because it's very easy to burn your way through the metal and leave a hole, and you really don't want to do that. I went back to the abrasive wheel and found that it removed the paint quite well. This wheel is a different colour, and the different colours denote how abrasive the wheels are, but don't forget, always run them quite slowly. Run them too fast and the nylon material will melt, then it will stop removing the paint and leave a sticky deposit on the metal, and you really don't want that. There's not a lot more I can say on this subject, except something I've already said. Do not buy rubbish. You generally get what you pay for. But then again, not always. Those diamond cutting discs were very cheap indeed, and they really are good. That's it from me. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.